Hi, I'm Mike, PokeTips Mike, and when it comes to these Pokemon Sword and Shield leaks, it seems like there's absolutely no stops on the hype train. Just when things started to seem like they were slowing down a little bit, out of nowhere, about 28 Pokemon got leaked. This is by far the craziest stuff we've seen so far, so without further ado, spoilers starting in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Alright, so like I was saying before, we just got a massive Pokemon Sword and Shield leak. Up until now, it seems like the leakers have been slowly trickling out information, but here they just dumped a whole bunch of stuff at us, so let's take a look at it. Before we start, thank you so much to Mauricio on Twitter for sending me the link to this website, and also big shout out to Nintenderos.com for compiling together all of these leaked Pokemon. I tried finding a lot of them on Twitter, but by the time I got to Twitter, because I was out before, a lot of these Pokemon were deleted from the main Pokemon Leaks Twitter accounts. So let's start things off with the top here. Now, we get to see two new Pokemon right here, Sizzlipede and Centiskorch. Now, if you've been following my videos, you already knew about the Pokemon Centiskorch. We saw it in one of the Pokemon Sword and Shield guidebooks before, but now we actually get to see what Centiskorch looks like in-game. And honestly, I loved it in the guidebook, but here it looks even better. Now, from what I could gather, it seems like both of these Pokemon are going to be the Bug and Fire type, and honestly, the Bug Pokemon this generation are killing it. We have Orbeetle, we have Centiskorch, we have Frostmoth. All the Bug Pokemon this generation are fantastic. Next, we're going to take a little look at the legendary Pokemon Zachian over here. Now, this leaked image is very interesting because in this sprite here, it appears to be missing its sword. We could also take a look at its Pokédex entry here, and we could see it's the Fairy type. Now, this image is cut off, so it might be a dual type, but from what we know right here, it is at least the Fairy type. Now, its Pokédex entry reads here, known as a legendary hero, this Pokemon absorbs metal particles, transforming them into a weapon it uses to battle. So I don't know, based on reading this, maybe it has two different forms. Maybe it has this as its base form, and maybe when it gets its sword, it also gains the steel type. Fairy Steel is a pretty good combination. Now next we get our first look at the Pokemon Eternatus. Now I thought I saw a Pokemon that was Eternatus the other day, but that actually wasn't Eternatus. It was the Gigantamax form of something else. This is truly Eternatus, and look at that thing, it looks so weird. Now, the Ben Affleck leaker described this Pokemon as the evil legendary, and looking at its picture, I don't really see the evil. Maybe you could look at the thing that I'm assuming is like its smile right underneath the pink part. Maybe that's an evil, devious smile. I guess when we see it in-game, we'll actually find out what makes it so evil. To me, it looks like an Ultra Beast out of all things, but I don't think Ultra Beasts are going to be returning in Sword and Shield, but I could be wrong. Now, Eternatus also has this form right here, which is apparently the form that it takes in the big boss battle that we have to fight it in. So maybe this is the Gigantamax form of Eternatus. I can't wait to see how this actually plays out in-game. I feel like it's going to be wild. It looks kind of like a UFO with a giant claw hand. Again, I'm getting serious Ultra Beast vibes here, so maybe it'll turn out to be an Ultra Beast. Now next we get to take a look at our fossil Pokemon. So it looks like there's 4 different types of fossil Pokemon here, base forms anyway. We have Dracozolt and Arctozolt, and then Dracovish and Arctovish. Looking at the leaker's Dracozolt over here, that thing looks ridiculous. It has the big body of like a dinosaur, and then a tiny little electrical head. It looks like there's gonna be lots of different ways to combine these Pokemon, so you could really mix and match and kind of create like a custom Pokemon. I really like this system. I think that's a very cool, innovative idea. Also, another interesting thing to note from these screenshots here is Ditto is confirmed for Pokemon Sword and Shield. I know this has been confirmed for a while now, but I get a lot of people asking me if Ditto's in Sword and Shield, so here it is. Now next in this picture, there's a lot of stuff going on. The Pokemon we're going to focus on here is called Stonjourner. I think I said that thing's name right, and it's a very bizarre looking rock type Pokemon. Taking a look at the Pokédex on the side of the screen, it looks like this thing is going to get an evolution, but we haven't seen it yet. And there's lots of other interesting Pokemon on that Pokédex screen over there that we're going to talk about in just a moment. So here we go with some new Galar forms. So this is Darumaka from Generation 5, perspective, it looks like in Galar it turns into an ice type, and I love that when they do that, when they take fire type Pokemon and give them regional forms that change them into ice type. It's like such a weird concept. I always used to, when I used to play with Pokemon cards, I used to love the Delta species cards that changed Pokemon's types, so this really is a nice throwback to that. I really like Alolan Vulpix, and I love how Darumaka becomes an ice type as well. And then we've got the snowman looking Darmanitan over here. This is great. This is fantastic. Another Pokemon that's getting a new form in Galar is Mr. Mime. And ooh, after watching the Joker movie, this thing kinda scares me. And Mr. Mime is going to get an evolution in Galar called Mr. Rhyme. These names are incredible. Now, I love what they have going on over here with Mr. Rhyme. Again, it has that clown-like design, and I feel like this Pokemon would be very annoying to actually have. Imagine just having a Pokemon, and we know how Mr. Mime is. It's always walking around doing, like, mime stuff. This one, since it evolves from Mr. Mime, I'm assuming it's gonna be walking around everywhere telling you rhymes, so that thing might get annoying pretty quickly. Watch out if you catch one of these in Galar. This thing better get a signature attack that rhymes. Now over here is a 3-stage evolutionary line. So we've seen the bottom one down here before, and its name is Hatterene. We also got to see its Gigantamax form before when we were covering the leaks from the book, but now we also get to see clear pictures of its pre-evolutions. So the first stage is called Hattena, and it looks like it's wearing a nice little birthday party hat, but all in pink, and then the second one is called Hattrem. And then we know that Hattrem is eventually going to evolve into Hatterene. It seems like all three of these Pokemon are going to be pure Psychic types, and it's so weird to have a line of Pokemon based off of hats. If you told me a year ago there was going to be Pokemon based off of hats, I would think you're crazy, and I would think there's no way that anybody could possibly pull it off, but seeing these Pokemon, they actually look kind of good. Moving right along, we get to see our new elephant Pokemon, a nice clear picture quality. I love this. So its name is Kufant. And then it evolves into a bigger elephant called Copperajah? I think it's Copperajah. I like the orange and blue design that it has. It makes me wish that this thing was like a fire and water type. Volcanion's the only Pokemon as of right now that has that type, so it would be really nice for something else to get that. Now there's also a few more interesting things to note in this picture. The first thing is Torkoal is number 300 over here. Now there's a Pokemon number 301 that the leaker has not seen yet, and I'm thinking that might be an evolution for Torkoal. Torkoal is definitely a Pokemon that I could see getting an evolution. It's not too special by itself, and giving it an evolution would definitely make it a more of a relevant Pokemon, and it also wouldn't really make much sense because the leaker already saw the Pokemon Kufant, and it doesn't seem like this Pokemon is going to have a pre-evolution. So that might be an evolution for Torkoal. We're going to have to wait and see. And also, we get to see Qwilfish in the same picture, and I'm kind of disappointed because that just looks like regular Qwilfish. I was hoping that Qwilfish would be a Pokemon that would get an evolution or a Galar form, but it doesn't look like it's getting anything in Sword and Shield, which is kind of sad. Next, we now have a Pokemon based off of an apple called Applin, and then when Applin evolves, it rips that whole apple skin off and becomes Flapple. According to this website here, it seems like these Pokemon are going to be grass and dragon type, so I'm assuming Applin is just going to be a pure grass type, and then when it evolves into Flapple, it'll be a grass dragon. Also, again, there's another Pokemon that the leaker hasn't seen here, number 207, and I could totally see that thing being Flapple evolving into an even bigger apple. Also, this Gigantamax Pokemon that we got to see the other day, that I was kind of confused on what it was, now it makes a lot more sense when we see the Apple Pokemon. I'm assuming this is going to be the Gigantamax form of whatever Applin evolves into. Now next we have the Pokemon Toxel, which we've already seen before, but now we get to see its evolution as well. It's going to be both the Poison and Electric type, which gives it a quad weakness to ground, which is not going to be fun since a lot of Pokemon like to use the move Earthquake, but its design is pretty cool. Next, it looks like Poltegeist is actually going to have a pre-evolution, and its name is Sinistea, like Sinister Tea, since it's a spooky ghost teacup. I remember when I first saw Poltegeist revealed in one of the trailers, I was wondering if it could possibly have a pre-evolution or an evolution, because I was wondering what in the world would it haunt, but apparently, a teacup. Now here's another totally new Pokemon called Indeedee, and when I look at it, it looks a lot like the Pokemon Meowstic. Now from what we can tell about the Pokédex, Pokédex, it looks like it's not going to have any other evolutions. It's not going to have a pre-evolution or an evolved form, because right above it we see Poltegeist, and right below it we see Trevenant, and we know obviously Trevenant evolves from Phantump, which would take up the 338 slots. Now these next few Pokemon are the pseudo-legendaries of the game. The first one here is called Dreepy, and it's a dragon and ghost type Pokemon. Then Dreepy evolves into Dracloak, and then Dracloak evolves into Dragapult, whose name seems to be based off of a dragon and a poltergeist, or also maybe even a catapult, because looking at its head, it definitely looks like it's gonna be shooting things out of those little triangles. I'm very interested to see how this Pokemon plays out in game, and I love the typing combination, Dragon and Ghost. As far as I'm remembering right now, I don't think there are any other Dragon Ghost Pokemon, so this might be a unique typing, which is always pretty cool. We always love it when Pokemon get unique typings. Also, peep Eternatus down there. That sprite in the Pokédex is crazy. And last but not least, for our final new leaked Pokemon, we have a Pokemon named Phalanx, which looks like it might be a bug Pokemon, but I'm not 100% sure. Again, I'm also thinking this Pokemon could potentially get an evolution since that number 346 slot is open below it. So like I said, my friends, this was a massive Pokemon Sword and Shield leak. We got to see a lot of Pokemon straight up, but we also got a good look at the Pokédex, which allows us to speculate on Pokemon that we haven't seen yet. So I think overall, the total value, the total amount of Pokemon that we learned about in this video is easily over 40, which is kind of crazy. I feel like now we're just hours or maybe even a few days away from one of the data miners from getting the game and us knowing everything about it. So we got to enjoy this little trickle of leaks while we still can. So my friends, in the comment section, let me know, out of all of these Pokemon, which one are you the most excited for? Which one do you like the most? Out of all these Pokemon, I think I like Flapple the most, and I really want to see what Flapple evolves into. I want to see how crazy they could go with that whole apple design. As always, my friends, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. If you haven't already, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up right now, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and as always, my friends, I'll be seeing you in the next one.